what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to the plane crash that happened in the US yesterday. I remember waking up yesterday and being like, wait, what the hell has happened? I mean, a plane crash in the US is not something you would think about hearing. Like, there's been a lot of plane crashes recently. Like, there was one, I think, in like Japan or South Korea. And then I saw this one when I woke up, and horrible. I mean, from what I've seen, everyone passed away, which I'm not surprised. I think because it went into a river, right? And also I've seen like the videos of like it colliding with, I think it was a helicopter. Absolutely brutal, man. And I think it was about to land as well, which is the one of the worst parts about it. Like, they were probably minutes away from landing, and then that happens. Don't know how this led to, like, how that could be possible realistically, but I guess this will go into it. This is everything we know so far. It's only a day since it really happened, so there's going to be a lot more news that we can find out. But prayers are obviously with everyone affected by this. It's a shocking thing, and it seems just from face value that it was so easily avoidable. But I guess we're going to see what this news report has to say and see what really went on.
Trump has said the United States is in mourning after an American Airlines flight and a military helicopter crashed over Washington, D.C. Mr. Trump said that...
Military helicopter? What? How's... Oh, Jesus.
No one had survived the tragic accident.
Oh my God, I also saw a video of a guy... Oh, this is the worst one. There's like a guy who texted his partner, I think his wife, like 10 minutes before it happened. And then you can see he mentioned about how like his last messages didn't send, and he could tell something went wrong. And he was just there like saying he's just praying at this point that she's still alive. Oh, that poor fucking guy. And what really pissed me off about that is the news reporter or whatever was like, oh, can I see the texts? God damn, people have no understanding of like people's feelings, man.
Which killed 67 people. 64 were on board the American Airlines jet.
Holy
3
shit.
on board the US Army helicopter. Well, this is what we know so far about events leading up to the fatal crash. The passenger jet, American Airlines Flight 5342, had been flying from Wichita in Kansas, heading for the American capital. Well, at just before 9 p.m. local time, in clear conditions, it was on its final approach into Ronald Reagan National Airport, flying through some of the world's busiest airspace, routinely used by both civilian and military aircraft. Jesus. At the same time, a US Army Black Hawk helicopter, its route shown here in red.
So like Black Hawks realistically have probably some of the best technology in the world. So I don't know if it's something to do with like not being picked up or something, but how? Okay, I'm going to let them go through, but I can't really understand how this could happen.
Was approaching from the north. As the passenger jet was about to land, the collision occurred. Several videos, including the one you can see here, captured that moment.
So close to landing.
Well, let's go live now to Washington, D.C. and join my colleague Katrina Perry, who is at the airport with the very latest.
Thanks, Virginie. Yes, well, flights began here about 3 hours ago, began to land and take off again. There was a massive ground stop following the crash last night, and this is one of the busiest airports in the United States. About 800 flights take off and land each day. That business has resumed, although it is much quieter as some airlines have cancelled some flights for today or rerouted them to another nearby airport. In the Potomac River here behind me, which is just adjacent to the runway, that recovery effort is ongoing, and indeed further downstream as well. One of the things about the Potomac is that it has very heavy undercurrent, so the search area has been widened to include a large stretch of the river. Many agencies involved in trying to recover all of those individuals who have lost their lives, because that was one thing that President Trump did confirm at that news conference this morning, that all of the lives had been lost. And rescue teams have really been facing an incredibly difficult task. Of course, the first hours were in darkness, in very cold temperatures, freezing water temperatures as well. Jesus. And here's our first report now from our North America editor, Sarah Smith.
In the freezing cold Potomac River, emergency services spent the night desperately looking for survivors. The wreckage of American Airlines Flight 5342 is in 3 separate pieces in the water. There were 60 passengers and 4 crew on board, 3 soldiers in the Army helicopter that collided with it. The bodies of at least 30 people killed in the accident have been recovered so far.
God damn.
CCTV pictures show the moment of impact. Very low in the sky over Washington, D.C., the helicopter and the plane rapidly heading towards each other, and then we can see the sudden explosion. On closer footage, we can see the crash quite clearly. By morning, it was obvious that no one had survived the crash.
Despite all those efforts, we are now at a point where we are switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation. At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident. And we have recovered 27 people from the plane and 1 from the helicopter.
There are recordings from air traffic control as the accident happened.
Crash. This is alert 3. Crash.
Fire command. The accident happened in the river. The helicopter and the plane crashed in the river.
An investigation is already underway into how this accident could have occurred on a clear night when both aircraft were following standard flight patterns. Military helicopters do fly over and around Washington all the time. This Black Hawk was on a nighttime training flight. And we know air traffic control were speaking to the helicopter pilot that he could see the passenger jet and was told to pass behind the plane shortly before the collision. President Trump asked for a moment's silence for what he called a tragedy of terrible proportions, before quickly blaming equal opportunity policies and air traffic control for making flying less safe.
The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite.
Wait, so is he just instantly like calling people out? I mean, he could probably be a bit better about it. I mean, it's a very touchy subject, especially as it's just happened. But I mean, at this point, who knows who's actually to blame at this point? Like, it just seems like a whole sticky situation, to be honest.
How you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash?
Because I have common sense, okay?
I know, already, he's not even wearing, like, this is probably not even 24 hours after it's happened as well. God damn.
And it is just common sense, apparently. No evidence has been presented to connect diversity policies with this or any air accident.
Flipping hell, man. Can you not at least wait? Oh, there's fucking people's lives that have just been lost. Oh, my God.
But Donald Trump has instantly turned a tragedy into yet another battleground in his culture war against what he calls the wokeism that he says has infected American public life. Sarah Smith.
Does he really think... I mean, look, maybe there are some laws and maybe they're not getting the best people inclined. I don't know. But why are you... Oh, damn. Like, can you not wait for this stuff at least? Like a few days? Oh, man. These poor people's lives being put down to this. That's a bit sad, if I to say the least.
BBC News, Washington.
Now, eyewitnesses say everything about the plane's approach to the airport looked normal. So just what do we know about how the events leading up to this crash unfolded? Nick Eardley from BBC Verify has been taking a look.
These are the moments before a military helicopter collided with an American Airlines plane. This live feed from the Kennedy Center shows the skyline of Washington, D.C. On the right is the passenger plane, finishing a 2-hour flight from Kansas. On board, 64 people, including figure skaters returning from a competition. On the left, the military helicopter with 3 people on board. And here, another passenger plane. It's very common for planes and helicopters to share airspace in DC. In fact, US Transport Secretary Sean Duffy said nothing out of the ordinary happened in the run-up to the crash. But there were at least 2 near misses at the airport last year alone. Watch as both aircraft move closer together over about a minute. This is their flight path, according to the tracking website ADSB Exchange. The helicopter coming from the top in red, the plane arriving from the bottom in blue. It's 8:47 p.m. local time, around 25 seconds before impact. We also have air traffic control audio, which has been published online. As the 2 aircraft get closer, we can hear a conversation. This appears to be the air traffic controller flagging the presence of the plane. The helicopter is referred to PAT-25. The plane is CRJ.
S25, CRJ in flight.
This response appears to be from the helicopter acknowledging the plane is there.
Aircraft inside precision separation.
There's a second recording from Air Control 2. The audio is less clear, but it sounds like the helicopter is told to pass behind the plane.
This could have been a situational awareness issue, and the pilots of the Black Hawk just may not have seen because the aircraft was coming into their peripheral vision, and they've mistaken who that they are reporting to ATC that they have visual clearance of.
But the plane and the helicopter get closer to each other, and then this happens. Back
What
to the
are the
flight radar.
chances? Like, if the helicopter was 1 second later, it probably would have just missed it, for example. Like, they've literally just like, how the hell?
You can see the plane and helicopter getting close to each other.
Look how close it was to landing. Oh, mate. Oh, shit, it was so close to landing.
The passenger plane is on a steady descent for landing. One tracking site, ADSB Exchange, records the helicopter gaining, then losing altitude. And this is the aftermath. The plane and its 60 passengers have crashed into the freezing Potomac River.
Well, the American Airlines plane had 64 passengers and crew on board when it collided with that military helicopter, which had 3 soldiers on board. And at least 15 people on the airplane were family members, athletes and coaches involved in US figure skating.
God damn, that is a devastating story, man. Oh, it was preventable, says US government. I mean, maybe it was. I mean, looking at this sort of stuff, it's like, oh, there's a lot of videos on it now. Do I check this out? I might save it. Actually,
how did an American Airlines plane and a Black Hawk helicopter end up in a tragic crash while the plane was attempting to land on runway 33?
No, I'm going to leave that for now. I mean, there might be other videos out there that are probably better to look into this, but I just wanted to get a brief understanding. Holy shit, man. This is something, man. Oh god, I was so shocked when I saw this, but now seeing this now, it's just like, wow, how has this happened? But yeah, I guess more stuff will come out soon. Prayers with everyone affected, of course. This is obviously such a devastating thing, but yeah, I guess we've got to find out what happened now. Who's to blame and how it could have been prevented, because you don't want to see the stuff like this happening more and more. And it does seem like there's a lot more plane crashes happening in general. So yeah, we'll see. But crazy story, and that's pretty much it. Until next time.